everybody and welcome back to Jensory with me, Jen. I'm a special needs teacher if you're tuning in for the first time. If you are, hello, you're very welcome. This week's theme is a construction theme and we're going to have loads of fun with sounds and cause and effect. So I will put the resource list up on the screen for the Messy Monday activity that we're going to do in a minute and then we can get started. So today's activity is inspired by the building site. So we're thinking rocks, we're thinking cement, we're thinking sand and all of those lovely sounds and tactile experiences that we could get if we were at a building site. As I try to do, today's activity is taste safe. So for any of those learners that are still mouthing, this is great. We've got two contrasting textures going on today and I'll talk a little bit in a minute about how we can do this for different learners, but I'll just quickly talk through what we've got and what you need to do with it. So I tried to think of a cereal that was sort of boulder shaped or could represent stones of some kind, and I came across these Kellogg's Honey Pops. Now when I was little I seem to remember something called Corn Pops, couldn't find them anywhere, don't know if they exist anymore. To that I've added digestive biscuits. Now you can crush them up in a blender if you want to, or I just wrap them in a sandwich bag and just give them a good old roll with the rolling pin, but they make the best kind of sand and I've used them before for seasides and all kinds of stuff, so that's a really good one to make our sandy cement. Now over here I've got some additions and I will talk about what we're going to add to that in a minute depending on the developmental age of your child, but before we do that I'm going to cover the tray in all the lovely bits to create our mini tactile building site. Now once you've put in all your cereal and all of your crushed up biscuits, you've got your base for your building site tactile play. Now for some learners this is going to be enough on its own. It provides two different contrasting sources of tactile stimuli, so actually that might be enough. Now if your child or learner is working between the ages of 0 and 2, or developmentally working between the ages of 0 and 2, this might be enough because actually you've got two different contrasts of stimuli here. That might be enough for them to process. So actually they're working in that sensory motor phase when actually everything that they're learning about is all about the senses and that's their main access point. So actually you might want to just stop there with that and let them just explore it. Now if you want to extend this play a little bit further, we can add in cardboard tubes. Now I put cardboard tubes into my messy play quite a lot because you can do all kinds of lovely bits with them. For this kind of an activity, I would use this to help build up anticipation skills. Now, anticipation is really important because it's the building blocks for understanding time. So if you can anticipate something, even in a really short space of time, that means that you're building your brain ready to understand and predict. And if you can predict, then you can start to understand what's happening in your day. And if you're a PMLD learner, that's really important. So you can use the spade, dig some up, put them through the tube. You can even do it after 3, so you're building up those anticipation skills, or even just going, ready, steady, and putting them through. Now it might not be that they can remember that if it goes in the top, it comes out the bottom, because that takes a long time to understand, and that's a totally different kind of skill. But actually just the sound alone of the cereal going down the tube will be enough to start getting that anticipatory response going. Another thing that we can add in is water. Water's always a really nice addition to add in to messy play because it just changes the whole texture of it. And again, you can do some anticipation stuff with that as well. So after 3, pouring it in. If you've got learners that are ready to develop their pouring skills, again, it's always a great one to add in because it's done in a nice controlled setting, but it's a really important skill for them to practice and perfect. So water in a little jug, pouring skills. Similarly, you can put things like spades or spoons in and you can perfect those scooping skills for learners that are ready for that. This is all about self-help, these kind of skills. So actually they're practicing being able to feed themselves and that kind of stuff if you've got learners that are ready for those kind of skills. And lastly, if you've got children or learners that are working in the pre-operational developmental stage, so 2 years old to 7 years old, whether physically or developmentally speaking, we can add in things to support role play and symbolic play and get language going. So for this activity, I've got a little dumper truck. You can dig and scoop and talk about things like full and empty. Again, you can still do some anticipation with that. So after 3, we can let it all go. You can introduce some early number if you want to, so counting how many scoops go into it. They can drive the truck all around and see what kind of marks they can make, see what tracks they can make as well. And again, that inspires lots of conversations about the building site, labelling all the things like wheels and sand and cement and all of that lovely conversation that we can do in that kind of phase of learning. Also put a little bowl in as well so they can fill that up and do some stirring. There's so many lovely key actions that you can do with this one if your learner is ready for it. So there we have it, our little tactile building site. This is so versatile, and I hope I've helped you to just understand how to extend it for different styles of learner depending on what developmental age they are. So have loads of fun with it. It's a really lovely taste safe sensory one as always. If you really liked the video today, give it a little thumbs up down at the bottom because it does really help the algorithms of YouTube. Please do also consider subscribing to the Jensory YouTube channel for loads of thematic, play-based and musical-based activities. I'll see you on Wednesday for a really lovely active learning Wednesday wow, but until then, take care and I'll see you then. Bye everybody!